someone can hear me.
Thank you. All right.
Are we going now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're still going.
Plugged in? Does this thing do anything for us?
No.
It's just us talking.
It's just us talking.
Okay.
It's what we do on Facebook Live. We just talk.
All right, folks. Facebook Live, and you can tell it's Facebook Live, and you can tell that it is myself, Wes Bradshaw. It's Ed Green coming to you from the Panic Room.
It's very live.
And it's very much a panic room because, we're kind of panicking here because we can't get sound. But folks, sitting at home, thank you for waiting with us for a couple minutes here. We've got sound. We're hitting the ground running. And week 4 of the high school football season has come and gone.
Yes, it has.
And Ed, we were treated to a dose of good close football games this week.
For the first time this year, really, our high school football game of the week on WHIG TV, Nash Central at Southwest Edgecombe. Great game coming down to the wire for the first time this year. Wes, one of the better games we've seen, and Southwest Edgecombe has treated us to a host of great games. I remember a couple years ago when we were doing the function at the Junction, and Southwest Edgecombe ended up losing another close one to Tarboro when they were going for a 2-point conversion, and their receiver had his feet on the back line of the end zone and was ruled out of bounds, which was pretty much the defining play of that game. But Nash Central with a close win there. Hunt with a tough loss in overtime. Fight with a squeaker against Bettingfield. Some great games on the schedule this week, really, as we start to gear up.
Northern Nash, a 7-point loss on the road to Laney. Rocky Mount having a much tougher than maybe a lot of people expected time with a good Eatonton Holmes football team. Southern Nash did what they normally do. They just blew
and so did Tarboro.
Water. And Tarboro's Tarboro.
Franklin said, "Welcome to the new area."
Yeah, that was our 118.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys. But anyway, folks, a lot of fun and entertaining football games this week. We're going to talk about those. New guests coming on the Almond Sports Show today.
Yes.
Ethan Joyce from the Rocky Mountain Telegram going to be joining us. We're going to figure out how to bring you the sound of that. Okay.
Just crank up the speaker, babe.
I think it'll pick up. We'll see.
Sure.
Maybe one day technical producer Jackie will.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out, folks. But Ethan Joyce from the Rocky Mountain Telegram going to be joining us today. We're going to give you your most exciting minute of the week. I'm happy again.
So am I.
The Xanax work.
Clean sheets.
We're happy. We just scored a lot of goals. We will talk about the start of the NFL season.
No.
Ooh, sorry, I needed that comedic relief. And we might even squeeze just a hint of college football in there. Well, tell you what, we'll talk about college football for as long as it took CM Punk to submit last night in his first and maybe only ever UFC match.
How long was that?
About 2 minutes.
Okay.
Which was longer than I expected. So, congratulations, Punk. You're still our guy.
Anyway.
All right, but we are going to start with the WHIG TV High School Football Game of the Week. As Ed said, we took the long trip for all of us, except me, to Pine Tops as we were greeted at the Cougar Den. A courteous greeting, interesting halftime appearance. But a really good football game. Nash Central, we kind of joke with Chris Lee. This is the first time in a long time we've talked to a Nash Central coach after a game. Chris Lee takes the Bulldogs in there on the back of back-to-back 40-plus point blowout wins for his squad. Knew he was going to have a tougher test on his hands going into Southwest Edgecombe, and he did a really hard-fought football game. We joked with Josh Wallfish before the game, first 1 to 14 wins, and that's pretty much what happened. Final score 18-13, Nash Central taking down Southwest, and Ed, it was the defensive juggernaut slugfest that you see in that final score. Both teams not scoring inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
And came back and bit Southwest at the end. Nash Central, Chris Lee tells us they have a good kicking game. We didn't really get to see it.
They faked an extra point. They went for two after that didn't work. And then they went for two the last time, too.
So we still haven't really seen the Central kicking game yet.
I'm sure it's great.
But Ed, let's start off with the positives of this game for Nash Central. We've kind of made Central a punching bag around here the last few years. I'm going to say deservedly so. Yeah. We're never intentionally cruel about anything, but we call it like we see it, and I'll call this like I see it. That Nash Central team, it's a totally different group than what we've seen for the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, defense, offense, the lack of boneheaded plays, no dumb penalties I recall in the game.
A few penalties here and there, but you're going to see that anyway.
They had the turnovers, but they weren't mistaking turnovers. They were trying to be active, going forward turnovers. The interception from Dylan Hodges, that was when they were attacking on the field. Now, maybe when you tell your quarterback, who's just a sophomore, I believe?
Junior. But really first year as a first-time starter.
Yeah, and he's gonna learn how to not make those throws once you get towards the red zone and into coverage like that. A lot of positives from Nash Central coming back and getting this win, something they haven't really done about the last 4 years.
Down 13-0.
Yeah, 13-0 to come back on the road at Southwest Edgecombe in what next year is going to be a conference game for the Bulldogs. And if this is any indication, these games are going to be very fun over the next few years for as long as that alignment lasts. But the belief, and Chris Lee talked about it after the game, the belief that this team is showing now and just the year plus that he's been there is such a dramatic turnaround. When we saw them back, I believe 2011,
right when we started doing our games of the week,
Jalen Hendricks, Khalil Macklin, great team.
They beat first game. I believe the first game we did together. I mean, they turned around. They beat a Tarboro team that goes on and wins the state title later that year. They had a guy by the name of Ty Gurley.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, he was really good that game.
But that was a team that we saw in the 2 times they played Hunt. We did both those games. One in the regular season, one in the playoffs. Mental errors just completely doomed them down the stretch, and there was bad penalties, there was frustration penalties, and I don't see this anymore from Nash Central. They're still not there talent wise. They're getting better. They're getting much better, but they're not at the elite level talent wise. Right. But there's a belief, there's a character to this team, there's a togetherness that I haven't seen from Central in quite a long time. Not even just from the football team, but from a lot of their program. And if this is an indication of the way Central is going, they have a bright future. And maybe that jump down to 2A
could accelerate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking at it, they were down 13-0 in the second quarter. They had back-to-back drives that they gave up penalties, that they had turnovers. But what Central didn't do, they didn't panic. Chris Lee didn't hit the panic button. Okay, we got to start switching guys out. He stuck with his guys. It ends up working out. 38 seconds left in the ball game. They get a touchdown run from Vernon Whitaker that puts them in the lead, proves to be the winning score. And, in Josh Wallfish's article, this is something that the coaches and the players, they'll admit to you, the last 4 or 5 years, they're not coming back from 2 scores down. This is a team, we talked about it with Bedingfield a few weeks ago. And by the way, they've had a nice rebound from that. So, that's good to see. But, 2 weeks ago, we talked about when Southern Nash scored those 2 quick touchdowns, Bedingfield's heads went down, and it was over. Central could have done the same thing. Instead, Central kept those heads up, kept fighting, kept charging forward. They got the score before the half, which was massive for their confidence.
Especially because they were going to have to kick off.
Exactly. They come back second half. They get a few things bounce their way. And then, they get a huge game from McKinley Lyons, who was our player of the game that we talked to. Whitaker had the touchdown run. Travis Griffin, the quarterback, left-handed kid. He's pretty mobile and has a big arm. Once he decided to unleash, he has a big arm.
Very good on the road.
C.J. Pierce playing receiver. This is a team, they've got some good skill players. The place they're still having to build is where a lot of people do, and that's in your lines. What Southwest defensively, they never really shut them down, I didn't think, but they did get pretty good control of that front line against Central.
Multiple times in that first quarter, keeping them out of the end zone.
But late in that game, Central was definitely the fresher of the 2 teams. Southwest coming off playing on Tuesday, and you could see it as they started making holes. They started, and those last couple of drives they had, they were tearing off chunks of yardage. And for Central, you said the word was character. And that was the biggest thing they carried on. McKinley Lyons finished 5 catches, 133 yards, pair of touchdowns, and it was a Central performance that was one that, once again, has not just been seen 4 or 5 years, just the all-around performance of the team.
And maybe another defining play of that game that is showing the reversal of fortunes of both these teams is the 4th down play that Southwest went for. Late in that ball game, it was 4th and 5. They got 4 almost 5 yards, like 4 3/4 of a yard. Didn't get that extra foot they needed. And last year's Southwest team, with as explosive as they were, as great as they were, they would have gotten it. And last year's Central team maybe doesn't stand up and prevent them from getting it. This year, not enough on Southwest Edgecombe and a little bit more on Central. And that's where Central went off to score their game-winning drive.
That's right. So you look at a team right now, a program in Nash Central that right now is on the ascending. You look at Southwest, you don't want to say that program is on a descendant because it's not. That program is in very good hands.
That's one of the best 0-4 teams I've ever seen in my life.
And Jonathan Cobb is quoted in here as saying, he felt this was the first time all year that his team really played like a Southwest football team. Jonathan told us last year off camera. He said we better do something this year.
That was their window.
Exactly. He felt that was the window of the moment. He said next year. He said I'm losing a ton of seniors. They lost over 20 seniors, and when you look at a team that usually has about 40 kids on it, that means he lost more than half of his roster from last year, including the first Division I kid out of Southwest for about 5 or 6 years at least. And not only that, a Division I running back who set all kinds of records and was the game breaker that everyone needs in Marcus Williams. It's a completely different Southwest team. You still got Dylan Hodges, who is a big-time player. I mean, he is the epitome of a big-time defensive playmaker. Carried the water, I thought, well on the offensive side. Had the fumble late, which hurt. That hurt.
Also did have the big interception and was a critical part of that defense.
Exactly.
And you have to wonder, one thing that we talked about a little bit during the game, and by the way, hi Josh Wallfish. One thing I'm curious about is how much offense was he ready to basically run that game? Because for the last couple weeks he had been strictly on defense because of his injury.
Well, he'd been playing, so they had been working him back in, but I think this week we probably saw a little heavier load for him offensively. I think they understood they needed to.
Yes.
Because when you're suddenly 0-3, the plan, we'll just work him in slowly. Suddenly that kind of takes a back seat to, this is Nash Central, and this is like a game that we feel we can come in and win. Hey, it was a winnable game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to say that. These two teams I thought they were much more closely matched.
Yes.
Maybe than probably anyone Southwest has played thus far. And that does include a North Edgecombe team, which, by the way, no one has the size up front North Edgecombe has. So they are kind of set apart from others in that way. But it's a Southwest program. There's nothing wrong with that program. I mean, here's the best part of the program. The other night while we're calling kids out, it's a bunch of sophomores. Yeah. A bunch of sophomores and a bunch of juniors making plays for them.
I mean, Southwest this year is going to lose Dylan Hodges.
That's going to be big.
And next year, they're going to have to fill that big leadership role. But the hope is that some guys start filling in this year.
That's right. And they are playing those young guys. Those young guys are getting snaps. They're getting reps. It's only going to help that team down the stretch. But the problem is, and any coach will tell you, getting ready for next year doesn't help me this year.
Exactly.
And now sitting at 0-4, the only team in our area without a win. It's tough right now for Southwest. It's a program that is, it's a community and a program that's very proud of its football team. They take a lot of pride in it. We kind of heard the other night from some Southwest fans, they were kind of unhappy with the attendance of the game and with some people leaving early, saying, you people are the same ones who were here last year when we were winning 14 games. You were the first ones here, last ones to leave, and this year you're not showing up. So that's something, remember, folks, that's something that kids do realize. I can tell you from playing at Rocky Mount, back in the day, we had some not so great teams at that point, and we remember looking in the stands going, wow, is this it?
Well, I mean, I remember we've done some Tarboro playoff games where they've struggled to bring in decent crowd, even like when we get to the third round.
And there's that kind of weird vibe sometimes, because we had this at Rocky Mount when B.W. Holt was there, where, Rocky Mount was top 5 in the state. Well, then you draw your first round of the playoffs. You're the number 1 seed, everybody sits there and assumes, well, they're just going to blow. I'll just use Jacksonville as an example because that's who Rocky Mount played one year as the #1 seed, and they beat Jacksonville by about 60, and the stands were half full. 2 weeks later, in the third round, the place was packed. So that's how it can get sometimes. Sometimes you can be too good for your own good, it seems like, when it comes to that. But, for somewhere like Southwest, I kind of understand where these people were coming from. You had a team.
Good times, support them.
You had a team that was outstanding last year. Obviously, was maybe a play away from playing for a state championship, yard away. And everybody was there. Everybody was sure, hey, this year is that fallback year, but this could be the building of your next great team.
And really, what's really sucks about that is how much I commented on when they went to that Eastern Final game against Kinston, and they had to go on the road. Now, granted, Kinston's not a terrible drive. No. It's about an hour-ish. Maybe even less from Pine
About an hour from Pine Top.
Yeah. So, but they packed that place, and it was great attendance. Even for other people from Tarboro, I saw Jeff Craddock there. Yeah. It was a great community effort, and I thought, wow, this is really great to see from Southwest. Yeah. That's what we need to see. Now, it doesn't need to be packed every game, but a lot.
It'd be great too. But we understand. People understand that you can have some fall off, but. I kind of got that sense from Southwest fans the other night. And also, I could kind of sense they were sitting there thinking, oh, God, this season's coming off the rails. Yeah. I'm certainly not ready to give up on this Southwest team. I saw enough the other night to tell me that this team, they're going to win. They're going to win some football games. Yeah. How many? I can't say. But I can tell you they've got some good players on that team, and they've got too much pride to just – they're not going to roll over on you. I'm going to say that, folks. This is not a football team that's going to quit. Southwest is tough. They're born tough. They're bred tough. Those kids are going to give you everything they've got week in, week out. For the fans who were there, for the fans who maybe weren't, hey, come on. These guys deserve it.
Yeah, Washington, Washington's in their conference. Washington, granted, they've played a very tough schedule. Washington scored 7 points this year through 3 games.
So,
North Pitt hasn't won a game. North Johnston is
just might kind of be a little down year in the the 2A down there.
Winnable games
in Eastern Plains, exactly. So folks, get out there, check out those Cougars. Hey, we're not there every week.
Despite what some people would say.
Despite what someone may say about it, we're not there every week. But we see a lot, and personally, I hear a lot. So we can tell you, get out there, check out those Cougars. Still a good football team.
Speaking of a place where I think you do wish we were at every week.
This is a sad discussion about an hour ago. So long.
Oh, the Capstone. The Capstone, they were not at Rocky Mount this week.
Yeah, they started their 5-game roadie.
Yep, they were on the road, winning, as you said in their open, maybe a closer game than I think they thought, beating Edenton Holmes 28-17.
I'll say with that, I think it's a closer game than a lot of people who don't follow football that closely were thinking. Mm-hmm. Oh, 2A Edenton, we smoked them last year. Edenton Holmes is a good football team. They put the boots to Southwest week 1. You look at their schedule, they schedule well. I believe they were undefeated coming into this game. Rocky Mount gives them their first loss. Their head coach, Paul Hoggard, the former head coach at Richmond County, left Richmond County on his own accord to go to Edenton. So that's a school. They've got good athletes. They've got good football players. Especially in the 2A ranks, and Tarboro saw in the playoffs one year in the 2As late. They're a second, third, fourth round playoff team. That's a big win for Rocky Mount to go on the road and get them. Sherrod Green back in the fold for Rocky Mount. Back in the fold. We know. We got it. And when you suddenly put in a 6'2", 210-pound stick of dynamite who has been chomping at the bit to get out and hit for about a month, a guy like that only can help that defense. I think Rocky Mount right now. Here's the thing, and we discussed this with some folks yesterday at the Wesleyan game. Rocky Mount is nowhere near where they were at the end of last year to win a state title, but some people think they might be a little ahead of where they were at this time last year,
right?
Which could be scary.
Well, we will see next week when they go to Rose.
That's right. That's right.
Wilmington Laney 14, Northern 7.
That was a 0-0 game at halftime. It's what it is.
We'll talk more to Ethan Joyce about this too.
We will. And this is a Laney team that beat Rose
So
I mean,
everybody's beating everybody this year.
Yeah.
Except nobody's beating Southern
Yeah,
Nash.
no one's beating Southern Nash at this point.
Especially not South Johnston. Southern Nash 49-0 over South Johnston. Southern Nash just keeping on rolling.
Nothing new there.
They're pretty good.
And it was pointed out the other night on Football Friday, he used 3 quarterbacks on the first drive. No joke.
Yeah, we know.
We know.
Apparently as we've seen from Mount Union, apparently that's the key to success this year.
We'll find out Friday night if they're still doing that Friday.
Fike Bettingfield, one of our 2 incredibly close Wilson games, just narrowly getting over Bettingfield by 2 points. This is
Kenny Sims is back full, by the way. Caught a big long touchdown in that game, so that helps when Bettingfield has their best player back.
And you did say, and I think you're exactly right, Bettingfield's response after what I think we could call an embarrassment against Southern Nash 2 weeks ago to come back. They had
got a
the
win last week.
Yep, and that was, if I can pull it up real quick here.
Green Central.
Yes, Green Central, which has been pretty good the last few years.
Yeah, go to Green Central and got a big win.
And beat them handily, 35-12. This is Bettingfield that they're going to be all right, I think, and they're going to be competing in a lot of games. Yeah. For Fike, they've been playing a lot of close games this year. Maybe that's something and they have, and maybe that's something they can carry into conference play. Is a little bit of that belief. All of a sudden, this Fike team 3-1 on the season with just a 4-point loss to Bunn on their name.
Yeah.
So this is a team to look out for. Maybe fighting for that 3rd place slot and that automatic playoff berth from the Big East. Northeastern 30, Hunt 27 in overtime. Northeastern for the 2nd time this year escapes one of our area teams, and this is a Hunt team that is just when you thought maybe they were turning the corner, they were in Northeastern, but this is again showing a very good Northeastern team.
And that's one thing I can't take away from Hunt is, I mean, this is a team that came to Northern Nash, had to storm back and get a win, and Hunt had to get on the buses and ride to Northeastern. I've done it before multiple times. Was it at Hunt? I thought it was at Northeastern.
This is a home game.
Please excuse me. Well, it's still a crappy bus ride that I've taken many times. But I mean, Northeastern, we talked about a couple weeks ago when they came back and beat Northern. That is one of the top Northeastern teams in this state, up in that region. They might be the best one up there. They run a spread. They're very athletic. They're a tough matchup for everybody. I think Southwest finally got them in the playoffs last year. Got blown out 2 years ago in the playoffs final. So that's a good football program. They're put together well. They're a good football program, good football team. For Hunt, they're still in that early transition. They're still trying to find all the pieces to go into place. I mean, and let's just throw it out. I mean, it might not be a great Hunt team this year. This might not be one of those Eastern Finals teams for them, but that's a team that obviously they showed you they're not going to quit in a fight. And we know Hunt. We talk about Southwest Edgecombe. Hunt is kind of cut from that same cloth. These are physical, football teams that these programs, they like to run the ball. They like to punch in the mouth. Hunt's not a team that sits back and quits. They're going to keep coming. Even at the end of the day, they come up a little short.
And even if they replace their head coach, which they still replace from within.
Exactly.
You had Coach Byram over there at Hunt. The defensive coordinator, I believe.
Right.
Yes. Right. Defensive coordinator there. So this is now 3 straight head coaches who have all been together for a very long time. So keeping that continuity going, even in a shifting thing we talked about a couple weeks ago, still trying to find some assistance. But this is a team, the bottom, we think Rocky Mount is going to be the top of the Big East, probably.
Right
them
now,
and Southern Nash.
Right now, I'm putting them in Southern 1 and 1A.
Yeah.
And I don't know who you want to put there. Southern has done it a little more on the field. I think Rocky Mount's had a tougher schedule.
But that fight for 3rd now between Fike, Hunt, Northern, and now even Central, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so much in the past few years. You could always leave the Big East. And you could kind of say, sorry, all right, Central's going to be at the bottom. Yeah. Northern's probably going to be next. And then you've got Rocky Mount Southern and the 2 Wilson schools fighting for the top spot. This year, I think for the first time in a long time, you've got 6 teams walking into the Big East. Every one of them is going to believe they've got a shot to go into the last Friday night with a chance at a conference championship. Where that happens, I don't know. Do I still think there's a hierarchy? I do.
Yeah.
I still think there's a best team. I still think there's kind of a lower team. But as we call it in the foot, the mid-table.
It's very mid-table.
The mid-table could be immaculate, and the thing about the mid-table is those teams are still good enough. They can knock off your top guys, which can still turn around and completely alter that conference race. The Big East, this might be the most
balanced.
Not the best Big East. This could be the most balanced Big East we've seen since this conference came back into play.
I tell you what, Rocky Mount, they're going to be hosting Northern the last week of the season. All of a sudden, this year Southern has to go to Nash Central. And if that's a game, that game could decide the conference title.
Absolutely, that could, and you'll still have Hunt and Fike. I mean,
Yep.
everything. I'm so excited about the Big East because I believe the entire Big East could be up for grabs.
Yes.
On the last Friday of the season.
We will see. Moving on the scoreboard, Tarboro they're just good, and we'll
Hey,
see them.
Franklinton, we'll see you guys next year in the Big East.
And we'll see Tarboro twice this week.
Lucky for you, Tarboro's not in the Big East.
Yeah.
You just get Rocky Mountain Southern now.
Sorry.
Good luck.
But like I said, we'll see Tarboro playing in their makeup game Monday night against Northern, and then going on the road again Friday to play Southern.
And that game on Friday, that if Tarboro can knock off Northern Nash on Monday, which is, I think is going to be a good football game, by the way. If they go into Southern Nash on Friday night undefeated, that's basically our last two undefeated public school teams. Nobody can beat RMA out of this group because RMA can't beat anybody else. So RMA's on their own level here. But North Edgecombe also still be undefeated. But Tarboro and Southern Nash, if you're doing a power poll right now for this area, that might be 1-1. They might be tied at first right now. So that could we're. Not that we play favorites on our Monday night game, but it'd be really cool to see two 4-0 teams on Friday. I'll just put it that. It'd be
Northern.
Northern, we still love you guys.
Yeah.
No hatred here from us.
No.
But, Tarboro will have their biggest test of the season probably come Friday.
And North Edgecombe now 3-0 because they've already had one of their bye weeks.
That's right.
So they're 44-0 after beating Southeast Halifax.
And that was an undefeated Southeast Halifax coming into that game. Granted, Southeast Halifax not exactly playing a University of Oklahoma schedule this year, but still big win for North Edgecombe as they keep going. That's 3-0 for those guys.
And you know what? They're going to be at Weldon this coming week. Then they're at the Kippers. Maybe 2 winnable games. I'm sorry, I don't mean to tell you.
And are you saying state championship preview?
But then they have, they could be undefeated going into the last week of the season at Tarboro.
That would be sick.
Yeah, if Tarboro somehow makes it through this week unscathed.
By the way, if they do that, you guys might want to go ahead and start clearing the plot to make that statue of Jeff Crowder.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I'll be happy to help.
Why would they not have done it already?
Exactly. 3 state titles, but if you go through this week and are still undefeated, that's almost like winning a state title at this point.
And then finally, Rocky Mountain Academy 1, Lawrence Academy 0. And actually not finally, because I believe
the slimmest of margins.
One of our teams also picked up a win this week.
I never saw a prep score.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that wasn't what else on it.
Okay.
I haven't seen a prep score either. No.
I haven't seen a prep
score. I thought I had seen a prep
so
score right here. I did not.
I don't know what happened with prep. They played, I think, Fayetteville Village Christian.
Yes.
I haven't seen a score. So
if you know, message
prep,
us.
if you got one, shoot us one. We'll be happy to definitely throw it out there. We got a little while longer here on the big show. But Rocky Mountain Academy, a Joe Hart mishap from Lawrence Academy. Rocky Mountain. Now, apparently Lawrence had to forfeit. That's the second game they've had to forfeit this year. So it does officially go in the books as RMA 1, Lawrence 0. Luckily for Lawrence, it probably would have been a lot worse.
From Josh Wallfish, who's chiming in here. God, I'm going to miss him. Village Christian 48, Rocky Mount Prep 0. So, moving on.
Maybe there was a reason.
Yeah.
And that was with, real quick, something we didn't get a chance to mention. That game got rescheduled late.
Yeah.
Rocky Mount Prep actually won earlier in the week. They beat Northeast Carolina Prep. In what was a good game and what should be a good rivalry around here between those two.
Which is why we said earlier Southwest Edgecombe, the only team in our area that was still without a win.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, wow. Was not expecting that at all.
Nobody ever expected it.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
It's true. So I believe we have our next thing, and if you will give me just 1 second here, I will try to. So why don't you start teasing what we're about to go to here, though, Wes?
Those still to come. We're going to give you guys a preview of the coming up week 5 already of college football or high school football.
Yeah.
College. We're going to give you a preview of week 5 coming up. Ethan Joyce going to be joining us here in just a few minutes on the phone, making his own sports show debut.
Yes,
he's a debutant.
He's a very good debutant.
He is the Claudio Bravo of the show this week.
Hope he's going to be better than Claudio Bravo.
Well, apparently it was the greatest goalkeeping performance ever, according to Pep.
We love Pep.
Because, Pep, no hyperbole from him. We're going to do that. There is no Ty Gurley update because he gets Monday Night Football this week. That's about the only thing that could get me to watch the No Fair League. Yeah. But anyway, Jarrell got his head rung the other day. Jarrell Newton. Good times for old Cam. Most assigned minute of the week.
Yes, I think that's what it's time for.
Coming. We have so much stuff.
And I think that's what we are at now.
All right, folks, it's time for your most assigned minute of the week. It's time for 60 seconds of soccer!
Oh, thank you, Daniel Tidwell, for letting him having this great song.
I'm not going to do my Magic Mike dancing for y'all. Usually I do my dancing, but usually this is the whole screen. So
it's true.
Yeah.
Daniel Tidwell, great musician. 60 seconds of soccer, though, Wes. Would you like to take the first 30 and then call Mr. Joyce?
Sure.
All right. So take the first 30, my friend.
Folks, after the worst week of the year.
It wasn't great.
The week that destroys the early momentum of the Premier League, the international break where England apparently bought a win.
Yeah.
The pool is back. The pool didn't have to buy anything because the pool put 4 past your defending Premier League champions, Leicester City. Ed, does that mean Leicester City's back to being bad? Or does that just mean that when someone finally plays, Liverpool does well? I'm going a little bit with this one. Pool puts 4 by. A double from Bobby Furr.
Tottenham. That's what we are. Tottenham. That's what we're talking about now. Tottenham also put in 4. Unlike Liverpool, we didn't allow a goal this week either. Yay, we're good.
That's not as fun.
Now, after 2 straight meetings at the Britannia against Stoke, back in, I believe, April was our last meeting with them, Tottenham have now gone 8-0 over Stoke. Mark Hughes sent to the stands during the match for arguing with the officials. He might be given his walking papers as through 4 weeks, Stoke have 1 point.
Oh, dear. Ed, you chat.
Oh, I chat. Oh, and Wes is just leaving.
I'll be back.
Okay, goodbye. So we're going to keep going here, and we have plenty still to come, as Wes said. We are attempting to get now on the phone Ethan Joyce as Wes.
Ethan, it is going great. Ethan, I'm going to sit the phone down right here as our...
You can leave it here.
Do you think it's going to pick up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Our main mic not exactly working this week, but we're coming back. We're going to put that right there.
Yeah.
And we welcome, for the first time, the league debutante.
Yes.
Coming to us from, Ethan, we're going to have you maybe give us a little quick background on you real quick. But folks, from the Rocky Mountain Telegram, Ethan Joyce joining us. Ethan, welcome to the All New Sports Show.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I just want to let you know how serious I'm taking this. I have terrible hearing, and as soon as you contacted me about coming on the show and talking a little football, make sure I had my headphones, had them near me, ready to go. I've been sitting here just jacked up, ready to get started because I don't want to miss out on a thing. So, but to give you a little background on me, I was working, I guess the last 2 years in Greenwood, South Carolina at the Index Journal. That was my first job out of college, covering high schools there, like I am here now.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated from Appalachian State in 2013. Graduated from Syracuse University in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still pretty fresh to it, but feeling a lot more confident in the first 2 months of this job, way more so than I did in the first 2 months of my very first job.
Well, Ethan, we should let you know, not to add to any nerves, but your colleague, Josh Wallfish, is watching. So make him proud, my friend.
Ethan, real quick before we jump in, being in Greenwood, South Carolina, did you happen to cover any Lander University baseball?
Absolutely did. Got to. It's really funny. I covered Lander a few times. The other sports writer was their main beat writer. And so I would cover Lander occasionally. I got to know their head coach. I didn't really get to know Rocky Mount grad Britt Johnson until he took the job at App once Kermit Smith went up there. And I feel like I talk to him about once every 2 weeks now. So.
Well, that Husky assistant coach is the unofficial third member of the All New Sports Show. Great friend of the show. Baseball Brit and I have been brawling and making up for it ever since for a good 20 years now. So we know we definitely we're getting a vibe. You're good people, Ethan Joyce. So Ethan, now that we've got the background out of the way, let's jump into some Friday Night Football. Now I believe you, out of all the tight games we had this week, you got to go to Southern Nash and South Johnson on Friday night.
I sure did. I think I expected a little tighter game than I got. Which is not a tight game at all. But that Southern Nash offense is looking great. But man, they have so many parts that they can work in and out of that offense that everybody just stays fresh for the entire game, just about.
Well, Ethan, let's talk then about some tighter games, I guess. Let's talk first about Northern Nash going on the road down to Wilmington and having a 7-point loss at Laney. Northern Nash, they're staying in a lot of games this year. It doesn't seem like their offense is still able to explode, but that defense looks very, very good.
Yeah, that's true, and I'm still getting adjusted to this area, but 2-3 years ago, is that a game that Northern Nash is in at all? Yeah, who knows? But that defense is really looking solid. I'm looking forward to my first look at them tomorrow. When they're playing Tarboro, but it just seems like the offense just can't follow through for them, and the defense is working so hard to hopefully we'll get to see them start stringing some stuff together and maybe ending up on the winning side of things.
Take a look down from Northern. Rocky Mount hit the road as well the other night as they took on Edenton Holmes, got a big win. Now, I know you've seen Rocky Mount once or twice already this season. Of course, I'm sure you know that is a defending 3A state champion team. What have your early impressions been of Rocky Mount?
Well, that first game I saw was against South Granville, and that was really hard to judge just how good of a team Rocky Mount was, because South Granville was not, was just not up to snuff with the Griffons. But I've seen two really good games from Rocky Mount, and especially when Apex Mill Creek was here. That even though they're on the losing side of that, the defense plays really well. I felt like they hung with that Apex Mill Creek passing game. That can be explosive, and they held it to a pretty reserved outing for them. And they look solid, and their offense is a lot of fun to watch. They're another one of those teams that has so many weapons out of the backfield. I really like seeing. You see DJ Sanders, you see Jalen Watson kind of pounding in inside, and then Charlie Williams will run on the outside and come out and catch a few passes. And it's a fun group of running backs to watch there. So they're a serious team again this year.
And Ethan, you mentioned you're going to be at Tarboro versus Northern Nash Monday night.
As will we.
What are your early impressions of Tarboro? I mean, they've been absolutely blowing teams out so far this season. But what are your thoughts as they head in to as we call it and as they call it as well, Death Valley over at Northern Nash?
I've seen them one time at the Jamboree, and you really see that they have a ton of weapons, and I'm really excited to see them for the first time as well. And Josh can definitely talk a lot more Tarboro than I can, because he's seen a lot of good football from that area for a couple of years. But this is really going to be the litmus test of where this team is by Saturday. Because they might as well just hang out in Nash County for a little while this week.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to a big one there. And Ethan, we look forward to seeing you out there tomorrow night. We will be there.
Yes.
As we are apt to do for the big games. That's our makeover of the game of the week. Well, Ethan, thank you so much for hopping on with us today, and we look forward to talking to you a lot in the future. And I guess we'll see you at Tarboro tomorrow night.
Sounds great, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right,
thanks,
thank you so much, Ethan.
All right, take care.
You too.
In case you guys are wondering, fellow Tottenham Hotspur fan.
Yeah, I still let him on anyway. It has to get a good mugshot, so we have the Tottenham.
You'll be fine.
But yeah, welcome Ethan Joyce to the area. I think his just from his writing thus far, I've been very impressed, very happy.
Syracuse really coming through in that.
I'll give you guys this, for whatever your reservations of the Rocky Mountain Telegram as a whole may be, which I'm not pushing anything here. One thing I've been, ever since I've been reading a newspaper in this area, that sports section, those guys are solid.
Jesse Nunnery's solid.
Jesse's great. Even before Jesse was there, great group of guys were there. And kind of, the group that you get coming through the Telegram, they're, how do we put them in? They're sort of a bit Portuguese.
Yes.
As what we mean by that, if you understand our talk, these guys, they go and they find the best young writers.
Yes.
I mean, and really great young writers across the eastern seaboard here in the country. These guys come in first or second job. They get really great experience right here. I mean, we talk about these high schools every week. They get to cover them as well. They get the Triangle ACC teams. They get East Carolina. You get the Panthers. You get some NASCAR. You get Wesleyan football. You get the Carolina Hurricanes. So much for these guys. They come here. They learn so much. They get so much good stuff to write about. They win awards, and then we sell them to the Premier League.
Yes, exactly.
They take that next step up, but folks, Rocky Mountain Telegram, as well as our buddies at the Wilson Times, folks, I'm gonna tell you, for I wouldn't say small town newspapers, but maybe maybe medium market,
just a step below city.
Exactly, step below. Folks, I don't think you get much better sports coverage, especially, than what the Wilson Times and the Rocky Mountain Telegram give you. So, I know we're talking a lot with Ethan here, but big thanks all the guys. Josh Wallfish is a great joiner. Jimmy Lewis, Paul Durham, Jesse Nunnery himself. Before those guys, we had Andrew Ivins, we had Justin Hyatt, we had Nick Petrovich,
Foster Lander.
We've had so many great guys who join us to help us here on this show. And it breaks our little heart every time one of them leaves. I'm talking to you, buddy. But luckily for us, when one leaves, they bring in another fantastic young Brazilian.
Yes.
And then we sell them for $40 million a few years from now.
We're kind of like Southampton now.
That's where we're going. The Rocky Mountain is the Southampton.
And sometimes they lose their head coach.
Then we sell them to Liverpool. And who knows what happens. But anyway, big thanks to Ethan Joyce. Like we said, definitely look forward to talking to him more as the season goes along. And that kind of takes care of week 4. Shall we take a look at week 5? What's coming up this week?
First, before we do that, the last thing of week 4, just to put a bow on it.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, the crystal clear Pepsi 6-pack. We got our crystal clear Pepsis out here. Ready for let's get a nice big gulp.
Oh, that is good. Not flat at all.
I think it's the same bottle I opened in 1993.
Might be.
Oh,
right, tastes nice. All right, anyway, to the picks.
I've lost the tape.
Some very good picks this week. Much better than we've been doing lately. Wes Bradshaw goes 5-1 on the week, only missing Southwest Edge.
Believed in my boys.
He's so close.
What are you doing?
But again, Fike, very close game as well as Northeastern over Hunt.
That's right.
And that one not so much. Tarboro and
Southern.
Yeah, Southern. Tony got Nash Central but did not get Hunt. So he also went 5-1. Again, that's the overtime game there.
People feeling good with these Central picks all of a sudden, right?
And somebody went 6-0 this week.
Yeah, nobody cares. Next.
You can say that about the next slide.
Yeah, exactly. It's 8 Green Pool at 6-0. Has come within a game of Old West.
Yeah.
Still not in first.
And then
anyway, he had the perfect week. And then
he went 4-2.
I mean, his best week by far, but still coming in 4th for the week. But that's where we expect him to be because he's Deuce.
Because again, when he picks Nash Central, they lose. When he doesn't pick Nash Central, they win.
Remember, he's Deuce, and Deuce squared is 4, which means 4th place.
Which is exactly where he is. Clint Williams at 8-10 on the season, and then a log jam here at the top. You and Tony 12-6, just one game back, but still a long ways.
Of course, I'm on top. I'm on top due to alphabeticalization. Or is it goal scored?
Yeah.
That's where goal scored.
Goal scored. The goal differential, Wes Bradshaw, is so much better.
Got it. So that's the crystal clear Pepsi 6-pack standings for this week. Let's jump right into week 5.
Sure.
We talked about already a couple of times. Week 5 is actually going to kick off with some Monday Night Football. And you'll still get home in time to see Ty Gurley play. Don't worry. Tarboro and Northern Nash. This was
Yes.
a game that was supposed to be not 2 nights ago, but a week of Fridays ago, and was moved by Hurricane Helene. Hermine? Whatever. At least I got the first letter for once. I'm doing pretty good. That was moved by the hurricane. It was moved to this Monday, which left us all scratching our heads as Northern, 2 days ago, played at Laney. Tarboro played at Franklinton, and now on Monday they will play again.
Yes.
And then on Friday they will play again. But that's your Monday night football game, which is a makeup of week 3. So that'll get them both to 4 games. So we'll see how that goes. Big one, the All New Sports Show, the company. Club Optimal?
Yes. No, House Optimal.
House Optimal, that's it. We will be there, as will our good friend Ethan Joyce. So come say hey.
Also, another game. I don't know if we mentioned, and if we did, I apologize. Hunt got their made-up game with Corinth Holders in.
They did.
That is
That's
a
right.
22-0 win for Hunt.
That's right. We knew Hunt had gotten a win. I'm very sorry for glossing over that one earlier, but that was a big win for Hunt.
That's fine.
They needed that win.
Yeah.
Corinth. Can't figure out Corinth. Maybe they just can't play Big East teams.
Yeah.
That's it. Because they scored a lot against Clayton, and in 8 quarters of playing Northern and Hunt, they have 0. It's a good job there, boys.
But you want to run through the schedule really quick?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at it.
These are for Friday's games coming up.
Start where we will be.
We will be at Southern Nash,
That's right.
and again watching Tarboro Vikings, and again their sort of week of reckoning here
right.
as they play both Northern and Southern Nash.
And then, by the way, just not to cut you off, their week of reckoning then goes to the function at the Junction.
Yes.
So, three games, 2 weeks. Whew, Tarboro's got a lot on their shoulders.
Which at least that Southwest game they get home. The other 2 they're getting on the road. Fike they'll be going home, and they'll be playing South Granville. Hunt continues what is a 5-game homestand for them. They'll be hosting Currituck. Nash Central, they're going to be playing Beddingfield.
Interesting.
That's a very interesting game. We'll see how those 2 teams, if Nash Central can handle what is a big win for them, and if Beddingfield can come back over what is another tough loss for different reasons from the Southern one, but another tough loss for the 2nd straight year, a tough loss against Fike. Northern Nash, as I said, they'll be playing Tarboro. Rocky Mount going to J.H. Rose. Maybe that's actually a winnable game though,
Folks, I'll tell you from playing in that game is
it's tough.
That's a reckoning every year for Rocky Mount. You know, we're as I said, I played at Rocky Mount. We're always the underdog in that game. I remember my junior year, we hit the road, went up there, and we routed a top 10 Rose team off their own field. Came back the next week and lost. So, it's a tough game to go play physically and emotionally when you get those 2 together. But as you know, growing up in Greenville, even though you weren't a Rose guy, Rocky Mount Rose that's kind of like the last vestige of the original Big East.
Yes.
Rocky Mount versus Greenville, that's a huge game, a huge non-conference rivalry. So that's a big one. That's a big measuring stick every year for Rocky Mount.
Southern, they, as we mentioned, will be getting Tarboro, and Northern at the end of the week they will be going to Goldsboro.
That's right. Another game. For Northern, if they can pull 2 wins out of this week, that gets them right back on track.
And then there is also a quirk. There's a quirk in their schedule where their open date is actually then next week.
Okay.
So they'll have a break, then they'll go to Smithfield Selma before starting conference
Very
play.
winnable game. Sorry, Smithfield Selma, but
Yeah. As for our 2A teams, we've mentioned Beddingfield, Southwest Edgecombe. They will be going to Bertie.
That's one I think Southwest is going up there 0-4. They're desperate for a win. Bertie, no matter now, I've seen some really fantastic Bertie teams. I've seen some really god awful Bertie teams. But just know one thing, folks. It's not easy to go to Bertie.
No.
Because if they beat you, then not only have you lost, but their fans will throw crap at you. If you beat them, fans are really going to throw crap at you.
So it's like going to play Mexico?
Kind of, yes. I didn't make that joke. You did. No bags of urine. That I know of, anyway. But rocks at the bus is not uncommon when you play Bertie. It is a very tough environment to go and play.
North Edgecombe in our 1A ranks, they'll be going to Weldon. I believe that should be a winnable game for them.
Good. Hoping to continue this good start of the season for North Edgecombe. There's a very good chance they're 4-0.
Rocky Mount Prep, they'll be going to Kestrel Heights.
Don't know what to say about Prep at all.
And then, as
No
we
idea.
mentioned, Tarboro, their week of reckoning. The Academy, I can look them up real quick, but
Okay, Rocky Mountain Academy, I believe from what we had seen, they should be about to start hitting the meat of their schedule. Rocky Mountain Academy, they knew front-loaded they should pick up. They felt very confident they were going to be 4-0.
Cary Christian.
That's right.
That'll be a home game for them against the Cary Christian.
That's right. So it should start picking up this week for Rocky Mountain Academy. I think that program is in a good spot right now. And hey, they basically got a free bye week out of it. So
and then Cary Christian, then they actually do have their bye week, and then it's Parrott, St. David's, Southampton.
And that's their big ones right there toward the end of the season. But hey, basically they get 2 weeks to get ready for Cary, then they get 2 weeks to get ready for Parrott, which I believe Parrott is your defending state champions. I think so. I believe they knocked RMA out last year in the semifinals. Yes. So, that big month coming up for Terrell Hudgens and the Screaming Eagle. We're called the Screaming Eagles. Yeah, boys. Let's. All right, we're going to talk less college football than it took time for CM Punk to have to tap out.
So, do you want me to set a 2-minute timer?
Well, it's going to be real easy.
Yeah.
I don't even think you need to set a timer here.
Go ahead.
Folks, all I've got to say is 33-30. Pirates get the win. Wolfpack has 6 ACC wins, I believe, since 2011. So do the Pirates. Maybe it's 2013. I think it's 2013. Since 2013,
Numbers,
ECU
words.
has 6 ACC wins, as does NC State. So y'all can send your hate mail to me. No doubt about it. I'm not really worried about it. Because the Pirates are looking good under Scotty Moe. 2-0 on the year.
You know who didn't look good yesterday?
Who's that?
Oklahoma State.
I kind of think they got cheated a little bit, but we're not going to worry about that. That was an incredible Hail Mary. Because they didn't get there. The guy Cassie gets it. Oh, man, it was great.
Georgia escaping.
I had told somebody yesterday, a big Alabama fan, saying, God, they're just not playing good. I said, I think a lot of teams who had those huge Week 1 games, they were just feeling the hangover yesterday. Yeah. Clemson barely escaped.
Yeah.
Ohio State barely escaped. A lot of these teams had real fights on their hands. Alabama, it took them a while to get going. The big showdown in Bristol, 157,000 people in attendance. Unfortunately for them, they had to watch Tennessee and Virginia Tech.
All right.
Tennessee had to come back to get that win. But at least, Georgia had the rough week. Tar Heels bounced back with a win yesterday. So I think you were seeing a lot of those teams kind of hung over from Week 1, and it's like, hey guys, we realize Alabama, we're not playing USC, we're playing Western Kentucky, but you've got to be ready to play football. So Appalachian State got a win yesterday.
Good for them.
And they welcome the mighty Hurricanes to the Rock this weekend.
Oh boy.
Would call baseball Brady to get tickets, but he knows I'll wear my green and orange, so he probably won't give them to me. So, but that's a big one in state this week. Miami, another one of those teams, maybe coming off a little hangover last week. It took them a while to get going yesterday against, I believe, Florida Atlantic. So, but they got a win. Like I said, Pirates beat the Wolfpack, so I'm good to go. And I watched a little Virginia football last night.
How'd that go?
Yeah, I didn't watch much.
That's why they sent him to Oregon.
Much. Quick baseball update, just overall. Brian Goodwin, of course, as you know, up with Washington. He's hitting the ball pretty well. Actually hitting over 300 now for the season, up on the big league level. I saw the other day had hit a double. I think he's hit a couple of doubles since he's been up now. So congratulations to Brian. The Nationals look like they're going to cruise to the National League East title. We'll see if Brian makes a playoff roster. That might be a little stretch, but we'll see. As for you Red Sox fans out there, Sox won again today. They're 2 up in the East.
Big win today.
We're hitting the ball.
Just keep throwing Joaquin Benoit. David Ortiz is going to keep hitting home.
Here's my idea. Call me crazy. Just start Rick Porcello every game. Because, yes, I understand, he's got 20 wins. But doesn't it seem like every time Rick Porcello pitches, we score 10-plus runs?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like the anti-Pedro.
Yeah.
You remember used to, the day we'd sit
1-0.
Yeah, Pedro better win 1-0 or 2-1
loss.
Yeah, because if somebody scores 2 runs on Pedro, we're losing because we couldn't hit. Yep. Rick Porcello, on the other hand, has got like 9 runs a game this year.
That's been pretty good for him.
So, Red Sox looking like they're back where they belong, being the Yankees' daddy.
Yes, as you mentioned, Brian Goodwin, 3 doubles so far in his career, with him batting .304. Still looking for that first home run.
We're not worried about that because he'll get hold of one. I know. Let me say, folks, Todd Gurley, Monday Night Football, 49ers Rams.
Todd.
Second game of a Monday night doubleheader. Don't even know who plays the first one.
I think Chris Berman is calling that game too.
Well, I couldn't watch Todd run with the mute on.
That's true.
Folks, that is about the only thing that's going to get me to watch an NFL game this year. Will be number 30 for the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah. First guest of the All-New Sports Show.
Who also, of course, retweeted one of our scores from this past weekend. If you would like to be like Todd Gurley, you can, of course, get us on our Twitter page.
If you want to be just like Todd Gurley,
get us on our Twitter page at All New Sports Show. Of course, you see our Facebook page right here, facebook.com/All New Sports Show. You can also check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/The All New Sports Show. We're also on Instagram at the All New Sports Show. Email us allnewsportshow@gmail.com. And finally, send us your letters and parcels to 1701 Sunset Avenue, Suite 201, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, 27804. And lastly, if you liked our most exciting minute of the week in 60 Seconds of Soccer, we sometimes talk about soccer.
It wasn't that good today. It was my fault.
2 hours sometimes we talk about it on the A Foreign Affair podcast. Check it out on podbean.com, the iTunes Music Store, Google Play, and anywhere else podcasts are distributed. The A Foreign Affair podcast.
That's right. That's our mainly soccer. We talk about a few other things. We talk about some television on there.
Yeah.
You know what's going on in the TV world, and then of course I get my little end of the night. I get the main event. So Raw. It's called So Raw, where I get to talk wrestling this week. If you want to hear more about CM Punk's 2 Minutes in Hell, definitely check it out because Mickey Gall sent him there. We'll talk a little bit about that this week. Got a pay-per-view tonight, Battleground or Backlash or something. I don't really know.
It's supposed to be.
It's not that great. I'm not that jacked. But, you know, hey, check us out, folks. We give you a little bit of everything. If we ever get a good political... No, we kind of got out of the political realm. We try to stay away from that now. No. Just remember, folks, vote for Archer.
Yeah.
Archer for president. A vote for Archer
is a vote for we don't care about our country anymore.
Why would we at this point?
It's true.
But anyway, folks. Okay, and I believe anything else to add today? Are we feeling pretty good?
I think we are done.
Okay, folks. So once again, big thanks to Ethan Joyce from the Rocky Mountain Telegram for hopping on checking us out today. Real quick, you missed one thing in putting us over.
What?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21 on Twitter.
I'm at Edward Green on Twitter.
So if you just want to yell at one of us individually,
it's true.
Just hit us up on the Twitter. Or if you want to talk some cool stuff, hit us up on the Twitter. We'll have a lot of fun, folks. Okay, so next week, week 5, we will be back right here from the Panic Room. We're getting closer to our bye weeks, getting closer to conference season kicking off.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so far, if you look at the numbers, we've had a great year of high school football here in our area. And literally the team with the worst record, Southwest, I think they could still give anyone in this area a fight.
More to come, and we'll be seeing you guys 2 games this week.
That's
and
right.
Then one game you'll be seeing this Saturday, one game you'll see 2 Saturdays from then.
That's right. So, for one name, field producer Jackie. I like that. Folks, he's Ed Green. I'm Wes Bradshaw. We'll see you guys back next week for another edition of the All News Sports Show.
Good night, Josh.